All right, it's the only Chef Randy here. Here, listen to music, and I'm gonna make some pasta dough real quick to make some pasta tonight. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go TikTok video or if I'm gonna go Facebook Live, because TikTok, I need followers. That means you. Follow, share, follow, share, follow, share. That way I can go live, huh? All right, so here we have 200 grams of 00 flour. Right? 00 flour is less than 0 on the granular scale, okay? So it's a softer product. It's gonna make a nice velvety pasta, okay? And we go 2 to 1. 2 dry, 1 part wet, okay? Now, 200 grams, roughly 50 grams a piece. Your dough might be a little dry, add some water, just run your hand into some water, and then apply it over to the top of the dough if it feels a little dry. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. First thing you're gonna do is you're gonna take your flour and flip it over real quick, just like so. Give it a tap because you want all of that ingredient in your pasta. Next thing you're gonna do, make a well. Okay, you can use your fork if you want. You can use your elbow, your forehead. I don't care what you use. I use the egg, not the top, not the bottom. I use the side. I flip it over on the side. I press it in the middle, and then I work that flour out from the inside out. Now, when you're building your well, you're looking for surface space within the well. You're not looking for high walls, little tiny bowl, because we're gonna mix egg in this. So, unless you want the egg to run away from you or make it incredibly difficult to mix your pasta dough, you want surface space. Good rule of thumb, as big as your outstretched hand, okay? If the inside of your well is as big as your outstretched hand, then you're good to go, okay? Boom, that's good. Got my bench scraper, my little Susie Homemaker, teal color. All right, now we're gonna crack the egg. You can crack the egg on the table and then crack it in there, but I choose to use the bench scraper because it tends to make larger eggshells if they do fall in. Hopefully they don't. No eggshells on that one. And 1 eggshell, 2 eggshells on that one, but they're big enough so that I can fish them out with my fork. Right. Ooh, that is cookies, is what that is. Come take a look at this real quick. We'll take these out. Okay, come take a look at these bad boys. Whoop. Ooh, what do you think, huh? What do you think? I think those are done. I think we're gonna let those cook the rest of the way on the pan. Shut that beeping timer off. Yeah. Cookies for the neighbors, you know? Gotta do what I can. Gotta stay in good light. All right, we'll place that back down there. Don't worry about time, because we still got plenty of time. We got 7 minutes, we're good. All right, and I'm back in the habit here. Now, we're gonna use a fork. There we go, we're gonna use a fork. Use a plastic one if you have it. Just because it's more pliable and it's easier to keep the fork to the bench, which is what we want to do. First I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break up these yolks. You wanna use brown eggs. Brown eggs are local eggs. Local eggs are fresh. So, I'm gonna break the yolks down and then I'm gonna scramble this egg as if I was putting it in a pan on Saturday morning, or any morning really. And once you get that egg and egg white incorporated, then you can take your fork, keep it pressed against the bench, and then go around the inside of your well. Slowly using the forks of those fingers, the 4 forks, to kind of dart in and take flour out from the inside of your wall, okay? And what we're looking for here is to get all the lumps out. We want a nice smooth consistency, right? Nice smooth consistency with the egg mixture. And we're looking for a cake batter-like consistency, okay? Cake batter-like consistency is gonna be a stopping point for us. And if you don't know what cake batter looks like, stop living under a rock. I don't know what to tell you. Start baking some cakes, then you'll know what a cake batter looks like, huh? And we're almost there. We want it to be like, we want it to ribbon off of the fork, really. And if you don't know what a ribbon is, I'm about to show you, because we're almost there. Now, we're home, okay? I'll mix in the rest of this flour. It's a nice smooth, there's no lumps, so there's not gonna be any dry spots in my pasta dough. and it's gonna ribbon off of the fork, which means it's not gonna hang on to it, but it's also not gonna pour directly off of it. So here we go. See how it just kind of ribbons off of there? All right, so anyway, we're at that stopping point. We're gonna abandon fork. Abandon fork, that's my favorite saying. Now, next step, take the insides of your walls and push them in on the egg. All right, and now we're gonna take our bench scraper, flat to the surface, halfway through, flip it over on top of itself, and all we're doing here is incorporating this flour mixture into the egg mixture so that it's a standalone, kind of doughish looking consistency. See how quickly that comes together and it's not running away from me on the table? Amazing, right? So at that point, I'm gonna start taking it and pressing it. And now when we press it, when I'm flipping it and pressing it, what I'm doing is I'm forcing the moisture out, okay? Because that's what you want. You want to force the moisture out so that we can get the rest of this flour mixture mixed in. You want to keep going around the table, get everything back in to the middle, and here we go. Now, eventually, you're not going to be able to incorporate any more flour, and that's because the flour is completely coated the egg mixture, and you've pressed it, and it's still, the moisture's still not coming to the top. Now what you do, chop it. Chop it one way, chop it the other way, and then try and mix it again. And you want to continue that process until you have little to no flour on the bottom of your dough. So, I'll push everything in, and I'll condense it, and look at that. Only a little bit, so that's perfect. That's where we want to be. Now, from here, I'll take it with my hands, and I'll press. And I'll start the kneading process, okay? Now, starting the kneading process is also gonna bring moisture to the top so that I can access that egg and work the rest of my flour in, okay? Now, when you knead, you can knead any way you want, but I highly suggest that you throw your whole body into it, okay? Now, I usually show people 3 fingers down bottom, and what you're looking for is you just wanna tear, see the little tear that I just made? And then fold it on itself, flip it, and do the same process, okay? But once you get good at it, you pretty much do it with one hand. And I'm just tearing, and then folding, tearing, folding, compressing. And what we're doing now is we're building protein within our dough. Does anybody want to guess and tell me what that protein is? Huh? Gluten. We're building gluten. Some gluten in our dough. So, when you're building that gluten, you're making your dough strong. You're making it so that when you put the fresh pasta into boiling water, it withstands the heat and the boiling and the activity inside of the water, okay? Now, what we're also doing is making our dough strong, and we can tell that by how much elasticity is in our dough, okay? So, and that's how you tell when your dough's done and you kneaded it properly. So mine's almost there. I'm gonna kind of get it back in, reel it in here as we come up to the 10-minute mark. All right, now, this is not the prettiest dough I've ever made, but it'll do. And I can tell it's good, I can tell it's ready because as I compress it, it comes back out, okay? But a good rule and a good way to tell is you take your thumb and you don't press it straight into the middle, you don't press it straight down, okay? You don't wanna put too much pressure on your dough because dough doesn't like pressure. It's not like human beings. Some human beings react to it, some don't. This dough will not react to pressure. So what you wanna do is just lightly press it in, and if it pops back out at you, like this one is doing, then it's done. At that point in time, you wanna wrap it and let it rest for at least a half hour. Me, personally, I like to let mine rest overnight, but you gotta let it rest for at least a half hour. And we wrap it the same reason we wrap, of course it's gonna be difficult. We wrap it the same reason that we wrap bread dough so that it doesn't get scandaled. I should have listened to my ex when she told me that this was too big of a purchase, too big of the cling wrap. It poses problems. And that is your dough. And you can work with it a half hour after, and stretch it and form it, okay?